Hello, I'm Mike Troy, editor of Retail Leader. I'm here in Austin, Texas at the Revionics Insight Conference. I'm joined today by Jeff Moore. Jeff is Chief Science Officer with Revionics.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to start with just explaining to folks what a Chief Science Officer does.
Absolutely. So Chief Science Officer at Revionics means that I'm in charge of the group responsible for all of our core data science. And at its core, our product does a couple of key things for our customers. Analyzes data and extracts meaningful signals from that data and leverages them in an optimization context. So as the head of the science organization, my team is responsible for designing the algorithms that extract value from the data signals that our customers give to us and using those in an optimization context for recommending prices, promotions, marketing.
And by signals, give me some examples of the type of signals that customers are providing you with?
Yeah, so fundamentally we have a few levers to play with in the pricing solutions. We have base price that's focused on changing shelf price seen by the customers, everyday price, promotion price, markdown and clearance recommendations. Those are the levers we have to play with. So fundamentally we need to understand the relationship between price, promotion, clearance, depth, and demand by the consumer. So we extract from the historical data models that help us to predict how consumers will respond to certain types of promotions, how incremental lift develops from adding more exposure through promotional activities, base price changes on the shelf, competition and how competitive price influences demand. So fundamentally at its core, our job is about understanding consumer response to drivers over which we have some degree of control within the solution.
The predicting piece is where the science has really gotten crazy, right?
Yep.
Because pricing used to be pretty simple. Retailers would look at what they did last year, maybe adjust, you'd see what competitors promoted, and you could it was simple, there were spreadsheets. When did it all get so scientific?
Well, the industry has been around. The pricing solutions started really in the early 2000s. I was part of one of the earlier companies in the space called Chimetrics, and there were a number of others in the space at the time. So that was the early market going back to the early part of the 2000s. Since then, it's evolved quite a bit. And one thing that we like to talk about at Revionics is the extent to which transparency and usability influence businesses' ability to use and adopt the solutions. Early in the market, the solutions were much more black box, kind of science in a box. Very hard to understand why they did what they did. So a large part of what we do is making the recommendations, the inferences, the models, understandable and digestible. We talk a lot about transparency. We put a very high premium on having the solution explain why it's making the recommendations that it's making, why it sees a given response to a price or promotion action, so that from a business perspective, they're quite comfortable with the notion that as business people, they need to make decisions under uncertainty, and there's always uncertainty in the outcome.
There's probably a mix, right, of like some people want to know all the details of how the tools work, and other people just want to know what's it going to do for me, how much is it going to help my margins, those kind of, so you've got a mix in the user universe of.
And there's a tremendous amount of technical detail, sophistication, and what we don't want to do is drown people in data. We want to give them information, not data. So to your point, there are different users that have different needs with regard to transparency. We have some PhD level data scientists at the retailer side who actually can understand the math, the science, the machine learning algorithms, the optimization algorithms that want to have that nuts and bolts view. But a typical business user, they want a different piece of information. They want to know, what are you recommending, why, what's that going to do to my performance of this item, of my category, and how much can I trust this recommendation that you're making to me? So what is your level of confidence in the outcome that you're predicting? That's the level.
There's a lot at stake with the pricing. And so they've got to trust that the tools are, making the right decisions or the right recommendations.
And one thing that we talked about in one of the breakout sessions yesterday is, what Revionics is not is a crystal ball. The data science that we have, we think we've got the best solution in the market, but there's always uncertainty to outcomes, and being able to understand the inherent risk and make good decisions in the face of that risk is a lot of what the solution does.
Not to get too in the weeds on the science, but it seemed like there was unlimited variables that could go into the algorithm. Like if we do this, how can you anticipate what a competitor would do that would affect the effectiveness of the pricing decision you made?
Yeah, retail is an incredibly complex system, and to your point, there are many variables that can influence demand. And as a data scientist, it's quite humbling the amount of complexity that you encounter and the frequency with which reality breaks the models. But part of our strength as a company, now we've implemented several hundred times across many different customers and customer types. And frankly, we get better every time a customer teaches us something that our models didn't understand previously. And we sometimes joke that our models have improved because customers have broken them so many times.
Yeah. So on that final thought, because you mentioned customers, obviously there's a lot of customers here that you're dealing with and getting feedback from.
Yep.
What problems are they communicating to you that they're looking for you to help them solve now and in the future?
Yeah, great question. Forecast analysis and accuracy is something they'd like to see us doing a better job of communicating to them how well the tool is doing over time. So kind of after the fact, after action reporting with regard to the solutions. We've got some good capabilities there, but I think we could do a better job with communicating, what we've done versus what we predicted would happen out of the models over time. Definitely, dynamic pricing is a very hot topic. Everybody's trying to be faster, more responsive to competition, and there's a lot that goes into the mechanics behind being more dynamic, being more responsive to the market, things of that nature. Those are big ones. Promotion is a really hot topic right now, and we've developed some really unique capabilities related to understanding what promotions are working and what aren't. So we call that the promo performance analysis tool. But that's been a really hot topic of interest of late.
Sounds like you have a full roadmap to pursue when you get back to the office.
Our product managers are very busy. They've got lots of asks.
All right. So. Thanks, Jeff.
Mike, pleasure.
Appreciate it.